My name is Seth Davidson. I'm sitting here with Shane.
Hi, Seth. How's it going?
Good morning, Shane.
Morning.
Can you briefly describe your life before your brain injury?
My life? Well, I really grew up with my brain injury. I was diagnosed with seizures at the age of 3. But over the years, I started gaining more control of them. I mean, I went to more doctors I can count on my hands. But about a few years ago, about 2 years ago, I had 2 brain surgeries. And those were because my seizures were getting worse around Christmas 3 years ago. I had a 5-hour visit to the hospital for a 5-hour long seizure. And then after that, I was transferred to Mass General for observation. And hopefully they could find something that would help me out. And that's how I got approached about brain surgery.
Did it affect your employment or social life?
Oh yeah, it affected my employment big time. Before my seizures started getting worse, around that Christmas, I was supposed to go back to my previous job at Dunkin' Donuts as a shift supervisor. And I was contacted by their regional manager, and he wanted to sit down and talk. So I went and talked with him, and I was supposed to be going back, working in a different store as a shift supervisor. Same rate of pay, full benefits, the works. But because my seizures got worse, my doctor was like, "You can't work at Dunkin' Donuts." So I was like, "Great, there goes my job." So I had to go back to my employer, Blockbuster, after I quit that job and asked for my job back.
How did it affect your social life?
Well, really, that affect my social life. I kept being a social butterfly like I've always been. The only ways it really affected me was my employment, and at the time where seizures got bad, I was back in school, taking classes at the local community college, and I wasn't able to go back to school for the next semester.
Okay.
But that's basically what happened.
Did it affect your family life at all?
Not as much as most people. Financially, you could say I was somewhat of a burden because at the time I was on COBRA and working a part-time job at La Paz Rio didn't give me much money. So paying the COBRA payments was a rough thing to do because they were like $300-400 a month.
What's COBRA? I don't understand.
COBRA,
type of insurance or
it's basically you've got insurance, and when you leave your employer, you can opt to buy into the insurance plan for like a flat fee a month.
Okay, I understand.
And that's what COBRA is.
Right.
Does it? Sorry to interrupt, but doesn't it you can only do it for so many days, though, right? Like so many months, or is?
You can do it for about a full year.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And after a while, I wasn't able to make the payments, and my father felt obligated to do it for me, so he was helping me out with making the payments. But there was a point where he couldn't even afford it. So this is a little known fact, but he went down to the Dunkin' Donuts regional office and basically threw his pride aside and begged them not to drop me. And that was the best. I didn't even think of that, but that was the one thing that stopped me from losing insurance and having to pay straight to the hospital. Because if he didn't do that, neither of us were able to make the payments. I mean, but they just said that's fine. Now, when you can pay us back, you can pay us back. And they didn't even send me a bill when I was able to make the payments.
Wow.
They just took it as a loss.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Very few places will do that.
Yeah.
How did it affect you emotionally?
It really didn't affect me much emotionally until after my surgery. After my surgery, I had all these people coming to visit me. I had my pastors from my church. I had friends. Every time someone would come visit me, I just go into tears. I'd bawl in tears. and I wasn't able to control my emotions, which really had me scared. Not just that I was paralyzed on the left side, but I was paralyzed. I had to learn how to do everything all over again, and I wasn't able to control my emotions. I mean, someone I knew before surgery, I could come in, and if I knew them before surgery, I knew they'd be in there, I'd still bawl in tears. So I was very emotionally unstable at that point.
Was your left side affected because of your surgery or
Yeah.
because of your previous condition?
They operated. I had a lesion in my right side of the brain. I don't know if you know, but the right side controls the left side, and the left side controls the right side.
Okay.
It's like a cross.
Right.
And they said I'd either be partially paralyzed or paralyzed for life. And obviously I'm not paralyzed for life. I went through a lot of therapy. Between my stay in the hospital and my stay in my stay at the rehabilitation hospital, I was in the hospital for about a month.
Wow.
And then after that, I was able to go on an outpatient basis to a local rehab clinic, and I'm the person you see before you today. I basically have full range of motion on my left leg. I do have full range of motion with my arm. It's just my left side's a lot weaker than my right side. That's something I work on with bicycling and stuff like that. But that's basically it.
Can you describe your injury?
I think anybody who knows someone that's affected with seizures basically knows what my injury is. Basically, I would have a full-blown seizure towards the end of my before my surgeries. I had full seizure. I'd go to the ground. I'd shake. I'd be aware. Sometimes I'd be able to talk to the person. Sometimes I wouldn't. Like with a 5-hour-long seizure, I wasn't aware at all.
Wow.
I woke up in the hospital and was like, where the hell am I? My father and the nurse was starting to leave the room. And they were like, you're in the hospital. It's like, what? I remembered going to the hospital. I remember going to the ER. And my father said I was the life of the party in the ambulance on the way there. But once I got to the hospital, I wasn't talking. I wasn't doing anything. Yeah.
What was the extent of your rehab? Are you still rehabbing today?
No, I'm thankfully out of rehab. Part of it, me being out of rehab, actually got out of rehab early because the insurance would only cover so much, and I wanted to save some of those days in case I needed more therapy in the future. But they got me to the point where I could just go to the local gym on my own and basically work on my rehab from there. And that's where I had basically had most of the range of motion you see today. I basically had that all, but my strength wasn't there. I was still using a brace at the time I was going to the gym. Slowly, I started weaning myself off the brace. Like when I was at the gym, I would not use the brace at the gym at all after being there for a month. It was restricting my movement so much that I wasn't able to do any exercises. And if I had it on, I'd have to take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on. And I was like, I get down the stairs at the gym without it, so what's the point of having it on while you're working out?
It's amazing. Very inspiring.
Thanks.
Since after your operation, how has your family life or social life been?
Well, my family life, it's great. I'm in contact with most of my family either through email or my father's moved up to Buffalo. I'll call him about once a week, every week. And I'm actually going out for a family reunion in the Adirondacks in New York next month. That'll be a week-long vacation for me. And we're going to go up by Lake Placid, very touristy area. And we have a yearly family reunion that way. my stepmother's grandfather, I'm sorry, my stepmother's father rents a whole bunch of cottages up there every year for the whole family. And we get together, talk about how our life's going. We have one night where we hand out all the birthday presents. And my family life is really good. My social life. After my first surgery, I found out one of my closest friends, he didn't bother telling me before my surgeries, but he was going to be moving to Vermont. So he's like, I won't be here for your second surgery, man. I'm moving to Vermont. I was like, thanks for giving me the notice, man. I'm going through this tough time, and I can't even count on you. And but I mean, besides losing him, I mean, I have most of my friends I had before, which is very rare for people with brain injury. And I have more friends. I have people I didn't even know that were my friend. But I feel very lucky. I've discovered more friends than I can even think of. But it's been a great experience.
How about your financial situation? Has that become any better since your surgery?
It's getting better. I'm still on somewhat fixed income. I work per diem at the hospital, which pays me about $200 every other week, and I get Social Security disability, and that helps out a lot. I mean, I don't know where I'd be today without that. But I actually recently sat down with a financial planner to plan, because I want to go back to school. I'm actually touring out of the Hesser campus on Monday in Portsmouth, and I want to be able to afford to go back to school. That way I can get a great job that can pay better, and I can get off Social Security and stuff like that, and I can afford the toys I want.
Right. How hard or easy was it to get some help with like Social Security or other
Social Security was a nightmare. I mean, my paperwork was sitting in a file cabinet for a month, and nobody even knew it was there. And we had to actually get my congressman involved. Otherwise, I wouldn't be on Social Security right now. I'd be in the poorhouse right now. But once my congressman got involved, that was a gift right there. I mean, I don't know where I'd be today without Congressman Bradley. He's just a miracle worker. Yeah, but that was rough, and there was a point where I was like, all right, I get Social Security, what about medical insurance? Because I was on my stepmother's insurance for about a year as a disabled dependent. But after a year, they review your case again. I know it wouldn't qualify. So I was like, all right. So another hassle was trying to get on Medicare, which took a lot of help and paperwork. And before you get on Medicare, you have to be on Medicaid for a year. And I had to pay in I had to pay out of my pocket a month like $60 before Medicaid would even activate. And I didn't even pay that much in copays with the insurance I had through my stepmother a month. So Medicaid didn't do anything for me. About a year after I got Medicaid, I got sent a letter that said I qualified for Medicare. I was like, yes. Insurance that will do more than just sit in my back pocket.
It must have felt good to finally get some help.
It did. It felt real good. And I actually, as much as Medicare does help, I mean, they also only cover so much of the bill. It's not like you pay a copay every time you go somewhere. You pay a percentage of the bill. If you go you pay 20% of the bill, which can get expensive. So that's one thing that really needs to be worked on if they ever do reform Medicare.
I agree. How do you feel emotionally today, and how are your belief systems?
My beliefs have never been stronger. I go to church every Sunday. I volunteer at the church. I'm going to an employment resource group. I just went Monday, and they're helping me a lot too. That's through the church. It's got loose affiliation with the church. The guy there that's a member of the church runs the group, and what he does for a career is he's a management consultant. So that the church has really been a big help for me.
That's great.
And my beliefs have never been stronger. I mean, whenever I go anywhere and people ask me if I believe in God, I'm like, yeah, I do. I don't think I'd be here today without him.
Neither would I. There's no question about that. How do you feel emotionally?
Emotionally?
After your surgery compared to right after?
Now compared to right after, I'm a lot more emotionally stable. Mm-hmm. I'm not breaking out in tears every time I see someone. I still got some anger that I feel, but that's something that will eventually go away. Luckily, nobody here has ever had to experience it, but sometimes when I don't agree with a statement or someone tries to get me to do something and I don't want to do it at all, I will just get in their face. I'll be like, no. I mean, you can even ask my folks. They've had to put up with it.
Are you just more easily frustrated?
Yeah, I think that's it. I'm more frustrated now than I was before. And part of it was before my surgeries, I was on a lot of medication, so I was very drugged up, and I didn't notice a lot. I didn't have as much strength to fight back, and now I've got all this strength, and I'm not all drugged up, so I'm aware more of what's going on, and I'm aware of what I do want to do and what I don't want to do. So I'd say it's been a help on getting off medication, but at the same time, it's also made me more aware of what stuff I don't want to do, and I've had more energy to respond back to it, so I would say it's kind of a mixed blessing.
What has been your biggest communication challenges interacting with others, or family, or friends?
My biggest challenges, I'm told I mumble a lot. After my surgeries, I was paralyzed on one side. That's from head down, and I had to I couldn't talk as well as I used to because this side of my face is paralyzed. I mean, so this part of my lip was paralyzed, left side of my lip. So I was able to use my right side of my mouth, but I'd say my speech has gone a lot better. Speech hasn't really been the huge issue. It's more cognitively, like recall and stuff like that. I didn't have to go to therapy for speech. I had to go to therapy for my memory issues. My short-term memory is basically shot.
Is that something that you feel is getting better?
Yeah, well, I've had bad short-term memory all my life, and I've just used stuff like Palm Pilot, stuff like that, just to help me remember stuff. I've got it set up so I update my Palm Pilot whenever I think I may have changed my schedule. I just plug it into my computer. That way I can be like at SteppingStones and be like, all right, I can't do it that day because I have this going on, but I can do it that day or that day. Otherwise, I schedule two things for the same time. And I've done that before.
Me too. So you found tools to find things to make it easier to live in your condition.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel when you communicate now, whether you're happy or sad or stressed? Is it easier to get your point across versus after your operation?
I think it's a lot easier because I can communicate. I can do everything I wasn't able to do before my therapies and right after my surgery. I mean, I was able to express, I was able to cry to express that I'm sad. and I was able to, I guess you could say, smile when I was happy, but about that, I really didn't get my emotions across. I've never been one to share my emotions either. I mean, when my grandparents died, I tried to tough it up for my younger brothers. I mean, I didn't cry at all at the funeral or anything like that, because I wanted to be there for my brothers. I wanted to play the role of the eldest brother, which I am by right, but I wanted to be there for them and just figured I could just deal with my emotions later.
That must have been hard.
It was hard, but I've gone through it.
How about goals for your future? Have you set any goals or
Goals? I want to get back on track for a career. I want to go to school. I don't have a driver's license right now, so I want to get my driver's license. I want to move out of my folks and get a place of my own.
Did you have a driver's license?
No, I didn't.
You never got a
No,
license?
because of my seizures, I wasn't able to get a license. You have to be, in the state of Mass, you have to be 2 years seizure-free in order to get a license. I was at that point once, and then I was taking driver's ed, and the day before the written final exam, I had a seizure. I was like, forget it, I'm not going to driver's ed just to pay $50 for the test and not being able to get my permit or anything like that.
That must have been very difficult.
It was, but I looked at it this way. I looked at it where I have the knowledge that if I didn't go to the driver's ed school, I wouldn't have obtained. So I figured that was like $300 that was well worth it, even though I didn't take the final written exam. Because it was $50 a visit, so.
Do you find any challenges now? Any barriers that you still have trouble with?
My biggest challenge is getting around. Because I don't have my license, I can't drive, so I either have to use my bicycle or call a taxi or get a ride from my folks or friends. So that's probably my biggest challenge, because I have to work with other people's schedule and I can't just work my own schedule. I have some smaller challenges, like I said earlier, memory. And that's about it. If you saw me about a year ago, you'd say, wow. Because a year ago I had a cane, and I went from a cane to a brace, and then now nothing.
That's amazing. It really is.
Yeah, thanks.
How do you think SteppingStones has influenced your life or helped you?
It's helped me a lot. I mean, before I went here, I was in complete denial of my disability. I was like, I've had all these issues before my surgeries. Why would they be any different now? But I came here to SteppingStones and just seeing the members and that they struggle with the same things you do. Might be on a larger or smaller scale than you, but they struggle with the same things. Helped me to admit my disability and just say, all right, I have these issues. How do I work on it? And SteppingStones has helped me a lot with it. That's why I'm trying to help SteppingStones out in the Krempels Foundation with my God-given skills of being able to do a lot with computers. So I'm very fortunate that they have a program like this. I think anybody that has a brain injury wishes they could come to a program like this. And I feel bad for people that can't get to a program like this, because it really is needed.
I agree. It's definitely been instrumental in helping myself as well. Thank you very much, Shane, for talking with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.